Hey guys, Allison here. Well, today I want to talk about a topic that can be very painful for a lot of people, and a lot of people have experienced this, and it's the loss of a beloved pet. For many people, it can be a devastating experience, especially, if the pet dies tragically, of course, that's really, really tough. But even if our pets have lived a long life, it's very hard to part with them. We just dealt with this a couple of months ago. We lost our almost 20-year-old little papillon. And it was hard. It was really difficult. I loved her so, so much. She was the best dog in the world. So if you're struggling with that, now for many people, particularly somebody who lives alone, this might be their only consistent companionship. So we need to be very deferential to what they're feeling and be supportive if you know somebody who's dealing with such a loss. All right, sometimes it's hard to even think about getting another pet because you don't want to go through that pain again. I lost my 3 dogs when I was in my 20s. I had 3 little tiny poodles, and one after another they had to be put down, and it was really tough. And I never got a dog after that until I met my husband and had my little stepdog. So now I don't think I'd ever want to be without a dog because it was so wonderful to have that experience again. But it was difficult. So one thing that I found very helpful, knowing she was up in years, almost 20 years old, I knew the day would come. And I started praying for the grace to deal with it when it happened. All right, accepting it. Now I think that sometimes we rail against it because we want to keep them forever. But I also found consolation in knowing that this is God's plan. All right, He gave them a shorter lifespan. I don't understand why, but He did. And that's good enough for me. I just have to trust that He has a purpose and a plan. And He gives us these precious animals as companions. They give us so much love. They give us so much affection. And we also give them a lot of love and affection. Like in her later days, we were up like 3-4 times a night taking care of her. I didn't mind it because I loved her so much. But it was time to let her go when I saw that she was really suffering. And that's another thing that I think that as Catholics we may struggle with, is the idea of euthanasia. Obviously it's not okay for people because we have immortal souls and we are redeemed by suffering. With pets, there's no redemptive suffering, right? They don't have the capacity to understand or to make use of that suffering. So to allow them to suffer needlessly is actually cruel. But it's a tough decision to make. So it's something I think, again, we need to pray about, pray for the grace, pray for that discernment. All right. And then the other question is, will we see our pets in heaven? And for many of us, we have consolation feeling like, all right, we'll probably see them again. Theologically, I don't know if that's correct. I think St. Thomas Aquinas said they don't have immortal souls, therefore they don't go to heaven. But perhaps they do, but don't experience heaven the way that we do. I don't know what the plan is there. But I do know that God loves us so much, and heaven is going to be so perfectly joyful that either they will be there or we will understand God's perfect plan. All right. They did exist. We love them. And to me, I think God loves all His creation. He's got a perfect plan for everything. So again, if you want to believe they're going to be in heaven, I don't see a problem with that. I'm not a theologian. This is not a Catholic belief. But like I said, for Catholics, sometimes when we hear, oh no, they don't have a soul, they're not going, it can be very devastating. So I think that it's okay to kind of just cope with it in your own way. But I also think that sometimes we may make them part of the family as if they are children. And when that grief is really, really tough, then we need to really maybe talk to a good Catholic therapist so we can kind of, see if that loss is triggering some other losses for us, some other things in our life that haven't worked out. Let's say we haven't had children. So it could be a complicated thing. It can be a complicated grief process. Reach out for help. It's okay to reach out for help. And again, if you know somebody who's struggling, somebody who's grieving, pray for them, be there for them. Acknowledge, affirm their loss. That goes a long way so that they don't feel so alone. And the last thing I want to say is, you will love again. You may get another pet in the future, and it's okay to. It doesn't mean you didn't love the other one, that they weren't important, but you did love them so much that you want another precious animal to spend your life with, to give them a good life, and to share love and affection, because they can be such a great addition to a family. They could be great companionship when you are alone. So, obviously with the joy sometimes comes the suffering. But God has a plan for all of it. So just trust Him. And again, just pray for the grace to get through this difficult situation. And I will pray for you. God bless you.